So there is a conflict between religion and science. Many of us, many scientists, have papered over this conflict. And no less a body than the National Academy of Sciences, really our most elite scientists, has announced that there is no conflict, that religion and science ask different questions and represent different ways of knowing. Well, religion and science don't ask different questions, and they don't represent different ways of knowing. Every religion is making claims about the way the world is. If Jesus does come down out of the clouds like a superhero, Christianity will stand revealed as a science. That will be the science of Christianity. Every Christian will be able to say, "Told you so." I mean, here he is, look at his magic powers. And a sufficient display of magic powers, it would just take a few minutes, would convince any scientist of the claims of Christianity. I mean, take this idea that religion and science are mutually compatible and ask different questions, and broadcast it onto the current debate about stem cell research. I mean, from a biological point of view, stem cell research is one of the most promising areas of research in biology to generate medical therapies for scores of conditions. There are literally tens of millions of people in our own country suffering from diabetes, from spinal cord injury, Parkinson's, full body burns. And stem cell research is, while who knows when and how it will pan out, any biologist will tell you this is what we should be doing, and yet we're not funding it at the federal level. The concern from the religious point of view is that we have to destroy 3-day-old human embryos to conduct this research. And the ethical debate stops there. It is just merely asserted from the religious point of view that 3-day-old human embryos have souls. You have souls in the petri dish, you have souls in the little girl with diabetes. You can't, the interest of, who can weigh the interest of one soul against another? We never have to get into the details because faith stops the conversation. You just have to respect the faith proposition that life starts at the moment of conception, whatever that means. Well, let's talk about the details for a second. Perhaps it sounds scary to destroy human embryos. A 3-day-old human embryo is a collection of 150 cells. They're arranged in a sphere. There's no brain. There's no nervous system. Maybe 150 cells sounds like a lot of cells. There are 100,000 cells in the brain of a fly. Flies have brains. They have neurons. They have neurons very much like our own. If we know anything at all about the relationship between physical complexity and the possibility of having experience, and the possibility of having interests, we know that more suffering is visited upon this earth every time we swat a fly than when we kill a 3-day-old human embryo. It's not enough to say they're potential human beings. Given the advances in genetic engineering, every cell in the human body with a nucleus is a potential human being given the right manipulation. Every time the president scratches his nose, he's engaged in a holocaust of potential human beings. Take the idea that there are souls in these embryos. Well, embryos at this stage can split into twins. So what happens? We have one soul that becomes 2 souls. Embryos at an even later stage can fuse into what's called a chimera, becoming a single individual. So we have 2 souls coming into 1 soul. The arithmetic of souls doesn't make sense. No one is ever burdened with the responsibility of trying to make sense of it because faith stands in for ethical argument. So my argument to you, really, and my argument in my book is that either you have good reasons for what you believe or you don't. If you have good reasons, your beliefs are part of the general purview of scientific rationality. We don't need to distinguish between hard science and soft science. This includes history. This includes all intellectual discourse where people honestly represent the state of the evidence and seek evidence. And religion is the only area of our lives where having no reasons or having very tenuous reasons is considered a boon, really. It's often considered even more ennobling to take this on faith rather than, this is the parable of doubting Thomas. So having noticed this confrontation between religion and science and faith and reason generally, many of us have become what is now called religious moderates. The religious moderation really is the flavor of religion that is acceptable to so many people who are otherwise rigorously honest in intellectual terms. In my book, I criticize religious moderation rather harshly, and this has actually been some of the most controversial material in my book.